Megan Saprowski.
Michael, good to meet you.
Good to meet you. How are you doing today?
Doing well, thanks. How are you?
Good, thanks. So what brings you in today?
Over the past maybe 6 to 12 months, I've been putting on a little bit of weight and wanted to maybe talk to somebody about figuring out a way to curb that weight gain.
Okay. So were you referred by one of your
No,
doctors? Okay.
I just found you.
Good. I like to hear that. So based off of what I have down for you, I have 170 for your weight.
Yep.
And about 71 inches for height, about 5'11". So BMI-wise, that puts you at a 23.6, and that's actually within normal range.
Okay.
But we'll definitely keep talking and figure out, what we can do for you today.
Okay.
One thing I do like to do, and I know with it being about almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we're going to do a 24-hour recall. So we'll start with most of what you've eaten today, but as far back as you can remember from tomorrow also.
Okay.
Let's just start from the beginning. Do you remember what you had for breakfast this morning?
Didn't really have a breakfast
Okay.
today.
That's okay. Any coffee?
No,
Anything to drink? Juice?
I had a glass of water
Okay.
a few hours after waking up, but yeah, really didn't eat
No
a breakfast today.
So what was lunch then would have been your first meal for the day, or did you have some snacks before lunch?
Really just lunch actually. Yeah, just and for that I just ate some soup.
Some soup? Any particular kind of soup?
It was like a noodle soup, broth based.
Okay. Anything to drink with that?
No.
Okay. And any other snacks you can think of in between?
I will say I
then
snacked on
now?
a little bit of candy.
Okay. Do you know what kind of candy you had?
Some of it was kind of like just like fruit gummies, and then maybe like a piece of chocolate as well.
Okay. Okay. And then last night, do you remember what you had last night? We're going to try and recall.
Ooh, and actually I
Dinner too.
forgot. I
Yeah.
did also have an orange
Okay.
today with lunch.
That's fine too. Orange. And you remember dinner last night? Or any snacks you may have had?
So
in the
last night
evening?
I ate kind of like a garlic chicken stir fry that had some pasta in it, as well as some veggies.
Any beverages with dinner?
I think I had a glass of cider, alcoholic cider,
Okay. That was going to be my next question.
and then maybe a beer as well once the cider ran out.
Just one beer?
Just one.
And was that just like a bottle of beer?
Yeah, just
The
a
12
bottle
ounce?
of beer. Yep, 12
Okay.
ounce.
Okay. So any other snacks you can think of from lunch yesterday to dinner? Anything else we can kind of fill in between those 24 hours that you can think of? Any other juices or late night cravings you may have had?
I did eat kind of late night, about a half of a baguette. And I also had 3 more beers. And those were kind of spread out over the
12
course of
ounces.
the night.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I may have also had a couple pieces of candy last night as well. And again, those would have been probably just like a couple of chocolates.
Do you know what time you got to bed last night?
Last night, I think it was around midnight.
Okay. And so do you feel like you traditionally get okay sleep? How are you sleeping at night?
Yeah, I feel like I sleep pretty well most nights. There's definitely many nights I don't get the recommended 8 hours. It's maybe closer to like 6.5, 7.5 is a an average, but then there's days where I get 9.
It's understandable. It's, yeah, a lot of us. Okay, so just based off of that, do you feel like that's kind of traditionally how you eat, how normal, your days normally go? No breakfast, like you don't eat till lunchtime normally.
I don't always skip breakfast, but I will say the kind of as the day goes along and progresses, I tend to eat more and more and more. The first half of my day, I may eat very, very little, and then a lot of times pick it up with a small breakfast or a lunch, and then as it goes on, and even till pretty much right before I go to sleep, it's continuing to increase.
Okay. So do you not wake up with an appetite? Do you feel like is that maybe part of the?
Most of the times, yeah, and honestly, a lot of times in the morning, I may not always feel 100%. I feel like I'm kind of like sluggish in the mornings, and sometimes throwing on a bunch of food on top of that doesn't really help me get my day going.
Definitely. So I'm seeing you don't drink any coffee normally. You don't really drink a lot of caffeine.
No, very rarely I'll have a small energy drink,
Okay.
but that's maybe once a week.
Definitely. All right. Well, just to kind of change the pace a little bit, what about exercise? Do you currently get any exercise?
I would say recently it's been very limited. I am on my feet all day for work, so that's not considered exercise, but at the same time it is, I guess, maybe a little bit different than sitting in a desk all day, constantly running around on my feet. Other than that, I tend to do something maybe small with the dog every day, take her for a walk around the neighborhood, take her to the park, which in most cases I'm not getting a ton of exercise, she's getting more of it. And then I'd say currently right now, maybe once a week I do something extra on top of that. That may include going to play tennis or doing a longer walk or going jogging with the dog or something.
Definitely. What kind of dog do you have?
She's an American Pit Bull Terrier.
So she's definitely very active.
Oh yes.
She takes a lot of energy.
Needs the exercise.
And what do you do for work?
I am a manager for the specialty department at a grocery store. Whole Foods.
Okay. Yeah, I love that place. So yeah, what do you normally, what does a day at Whole Foods normally entail for you?
Typically, I work more of like a morning to a mid type shift. I don't work many nights, but regardless of what time I work, I go in, say hello to my team, I check my emails, and then pretty much just jump right into whatever my first few tasks are that I need to get done. A lot of times things with deadlines, getting orders done, which is going to involve walking around the store, seeing what I have on hand, as well as standing at a computer somewhat to be able to go over some data, see what we've sold, things like that. But I would say the majority of my day is really, spent walking from one area of the store to another area, interacting with customers, interacting with team members. So it's, I would say 7 out of an average 8-hour day, I'm actually moving as opposed to standing still.
Absolutely. I can imagine. I see employees when I'm in there running around like crazy sometimes.
Yeah, they do.
So
There's a lot to get done,
That's good, though. That does keep you active, I imagine.
Mm-hmm.
So from here, I guess I kind of want to get a feel for, what were you hoping? I would like to set maybe a small exercise goal with you, if you're okay with me setting that before our next visit.
Yeah.
I would like to see you back in about 3 weeks.
Okay.
As long as we can get something on the books that works for you.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm going to give you, send you home with plenty of resources that you can go home and check out. I'd say, for the first goal, just incorporating like 1 or 2 more days where you're doing like a higher intensity exercise maybe. I know you mentioned walking with the dog. Maybe bring that up to a small jog with the dog, the two days out of the week, and see if we can't incorporate that within the next 3 weeks. How does that sound? Is there?
I think that
Okay.
sounds doable. Yeah.
Okay.
It'll take me some time. I'm not a big runner or anything
That's
by any
okay.
means.
Yeah. Is there anything else exercise-wise you like to do better? I know you mentioned tennis.
I mean, I like playing tennis. I just honestly, I only have a couple buddies I play tennis with, and I'm not one of those people that can go out and just kind of bat it at a wall.
Definitely.
Other than that, I mean, again, on occasion, like maybe a more strenuous walk, something that would involve some incline, things like that. But those are really my main sources. On occasion, doing some like kayaking,
Oh,
paddle
okay.
sports.
That's a good one. There's plenty of places around here.
Yeah.
So yeah, for the next 3 weeks, like I said, just 2 more days out of the week. See if you can't incorporate something that's going to get your heart rate up a little more.
Okay.
The walks are great with the dog, and obviously those are great for her. So if you can't incorporate one more day of tennis, or like I said, bringing that walk up to like a slight jog instead, and we'll work from there. As far as food goes, I would really like for you to start eating breakfast. I know that's going to be a little tough when you're not used to doing it, so I totally get that. Maybe just see, I know you mentioned you wake up early and are going to work, see if you can't incorporate like a granola bar, or making yourself some toast or something before, and even eating it on the way to work. And you might find that that'll get you moving a little more instead of not feeling as sluggish in the morning. And if you can get to bed on time a little earlier than you are.
Right.
Again, I know that's hard.
Yeah.
But just keep those in the back of your mind, and we'll see, we'll assess again next time we meet. And just kind of going off of the 24-hour recall that we have down, it's hard, we don't like to just rely on this because one day's worth doesn't tell us everything about how you normally eat. But I think another goal I would like to set with you would be to replace maybe a little bit of like the carbohydrates. So maybe like replace one of the servings of carbohydrates with a serving of vegetables for now, and we will build up from there. We're going to slowly, get to a better amount. So just keep the two main goals would be, the serving of vegetables and incorporating 2 more days of like a higher intensity exercise. Doesn't have to be anything too crazy. And I am going to send you with some resources in case you're interested to track your meals. It does, a lot of patients find it helpful, to start reflecting on like how they've eaten throughout the day.
Okay.
There's 2 really good ones that a lot of people use. The one is MyFitnessPal. They have an app for it on your phone that you can use. And then there's also the MyPlate Super Tracker, which is a really great one as well.
Okay.
So I'll give you this handout on those, on how to log into those websites. And from here, what else? Any other questions for me?
No. I mean, is there, kind of an expected planned deadline on when we, want to have things done by, or when I know obviously we set one for 3 weeks for a revisit, but do you have anything in mind as far as how long this whole process may take, or?
Well, I guess I should ask you, is there, your weight's currently at 170, and do you want to drop some pounds?
Not really necessarily. Honestly, for the longest time, I had a hard time gaining weight, even when I was being really active or working out. And now I think I'm getting a little bit older. Maybe my metabolism is slowing down. So I've been, like I said, gained about maybe 15 pounds over the past 6 to 12 months. But it definitely has not been in muscle. So really just hoping to make sure that doesn't continue. And, if so, if I stay at that weight, as long as it's, or even gain weight, if it's muscle weight, that'd be one thing, but not gain any more, just, I guess, fat weight.
Definitely. Well, since you don't have, a strict, amount of poundage you're trying to drop, I don't want to set a really strict time limit on this because
Okay.
I think it's just going to be more about modifying some lifestyle changes for you. Um, the things like in the long run, like I said, we'll gradually work up to incorporating more exercise in. That's going to be the biggest thing.
Okay.
And then just modifying diet, lifestyle choices a little bit here and there. And we will work up to that. So the 3 weeks will be our revisit. But from there, if there was any, if there's a time limit you want to tell me, we can definitely work around that as well.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think 3 weeks is reasonable. Honestly, I was scared you were going to say 1 week or something like that. And I feel like at least 3 weeks gives me a chance to, maybe accomplish these goals once or twice.
I think absolutely we want to be able to get you to do that. We're not going to try to pressure you and, making lifestyle changes right off the bat. So I think with this revisit, we'll even from there set another goal. That one might be a little bit tougher to change and a little bit tougher to change, but we'll get there.
Okay.
I really think we can do this if, we get these visits scheduled and work together.
Awesome.
All
I'm
right.
excited.
Perfect. Well, it's great meeting you.
Great meeting you too. Thank you.